Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy, your movie podcast of the week. I'm Mephisto, and with me, I co-host every single week my hetero life mate, Oh My Feelings. Good evening to you, sir. How are you feeling?
Good evening, buddy. Ow.
Ow. What happened?
You asked about my feelings.
Oh, yeah, it's
Ow.
ow. All right. What is the Reel McCoy movie podcast? Well, we every single week we send you off to watch a movie, and then you come back to us, and then we nerd out on it, we geek out on it, we break it down, give you the lowdown, what's happening, all the stuff backstage, on stage, everywhere across the stage and across your bow. So this week, and actually this kind of month, because of Thanksgiving, we're gonna do Ghostbusters. We're gonna talk about Ghostbusters, everything to do with Ghostbusters except for Ghostbusters 2016, because what the fuck not.
We don't.
So this week
we'd like to think that was just a blip in time that just didn't exist.
Blurb. Yeah, a blurb in time. All right, so today we're gonna discuss Ghostbusters from 1984. Next week is going to be Ghostbusters 2. And the week after that, it's going to be Thanksgiving, but it will also coincide with the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I am going to see hopefully opening weekend, hopefully opening day, which is the Thursday. But we'll see about that. And actually the weekend after that is actually Thanksgiving weekend. Am I right or am I right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So are you gonna watch Ghostbusters Afterlife the weekend of the release?
Of course I am.
We might do a special podcast on it. I don't know. Do we have anything set up for the 18th? I do not remember. Let's see. Live on air, doing backstage programming with Mephisto and Oh My Feelings. We have Collateral. We might change that. live on air. We're gonna discuss it, of course, backstage, but yeah. So let's see who's with us. We've got Biffer, we've got Doll, we've got Saf. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us this evening. So if you're watching this live, you're joining this live, or watching this on VOD, and you would like to give us any input, any contact, please contact me on Twitter. My DMs are open at Mephisto, or if you want Instagram, we've got Mephisto at Mephisto79. If you want to do that, DMs and all that stuff. I don't use Instagram that much, but it is what it is. And you could also, through Instagram, get to my personal Facebook page, which I don't have it right here, but you know, you can find it. Or if you want to email me, Mephisto79 at gmail.com, or of course, just comment section down below. It's open. It's there. You're not getting blocked. I know some people just put in random fucking links in there. I know who you are. I don't control that. Actually, Google kind of after 3 days, it holds the comment, and then it just blocks it. So just give us some. Call me a piece of shit if you like. Call me a piece of shit. That's I don't mind. It's fine. I'll even leave it on. I mean, my best friends call me a piece of shit to my face, so I'm pretty good. All right.
Hey, I'll do it right now. Hey, Matt, you're a piece of shit.
Thank you. You're a piece of shit too. Now let's begin this. Let's begin this goddamn podcast. So, Ghostbusters 1984. I did promise last week. I'm gonna say that this movie is kind of special to me, not only because I love it and I've watched it many times. It came out on my birthday. It came out on my 5th birthday in August, not August. Fucking, I'm thinking about something else. On June 8th, 1984. 1984, yep. A year to remember. Still working on that video, goddammit.
Side note.
Yeah.
3 months and 8 days after I was born.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it can't be more special than your birthday, but yeah, it was a very special time, a very special movie, a very weird movie. As I asked My Feelings to go watch a cheat sheet on the backstage area, which is that's reviewing us, the movies that made us, a series that is on Netflix, which is pretty damn good because it covers a lot of movies we have on our list. Like we had Friday the 13th, we had Halloween, RoboCop is there. I think Die
Hard is on there.
Die Hard is there.
Not watch the Die Hard one. We're doing that one correctly, all right?
I've watched the Home Alone one, and I've watched the RoboCop one.
Yeah.
So that'll be awesome. All right.
Yes.
So 1984. Dan Aykroyd, that comes from a spooky family. He didn't elaborate in the Netflix documentary. He did not elaborate.
No, he did not. He
went more into it during the Joe Rogan podcast a while back. And he did say, yes, I'm a believer. Yes, I believe in these things. I have, he has a lot of books that he has in his library that deal with the occult, with everything. And when there's scenes between him and Egon they are talking about books that tell you about certain things, some of these books actually exist. They don't necessarily deal with what you have in the movie itself, but it is a book that is there, that is surreal. Yes. But you know, they kind of roped it in as a authoritarian, like something substantial that you can go into and find out stuff about ghosts. So give us a lowdown. Give us your lowdown on Ghostbusters, behind the scenes stuff, anything you want.
Now, first and foremost, I love the fact that Dan Aykroyd was able to sell this movie on the premise itself.
Yeah.
he did not elaborate any further until he gave the first like short synopsis of what the script would be, and everyone went, "No, you're going way too far," because that involved intergalactic ghosts,
Yes.
and it was way off the rails. And we're like, well, why don't we just kind of bring it down a lot?
Yeah, that is a lot to do with basically Ivan Reitman, who directed this movie.
Correct.
And a lot of input from Harold Ramis, who came in a lot later. But I think I've watched this 3 times this week, and Ivan Reitman is not credited as a writer in this movie, just Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis.
Yes.
But he did have a lot of input in towards what, like,
he was outrageously influential on getting, like, correcting the ship, as it were. Everything behind the scenes. Let's go ahead and go through the whole diatribe here. So, again,
you don't have to go through everything right now, but yeah.
Now, from the jump, it was initially supposed to be a vehicle that was supposed to propel 2 actors. John Belushi
and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
It was written for Dan Aykroyd and the 2 other people.
And unfortunately, John Belushi had died.
Yes.
At this point, he had his issue as he died of a heroin overdose, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember if it's a
speedball.
Speedball. So it's
heroin and cocaine.
So it's the cocaine to bring you up, and then the heroin to bring you down.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That in itself is a very tragic story, but
yes,
with the way that it was all set up, and especially like different characters that were supposed to actually portray different individuals, like Lewis Tully's character was supposed to be played by John Candy, but John Candy turned the role down because he didn't like the way it was supposed to be played, and Rick Moranis was like, "Why don't I make him a nerd?"
Yeah,
and immediately it was like magic.
Yes, some things in this movie, and yes, some of the information does come from that show, but some of the things that were on that show and on Netflix, I didn't know, but it seems like a lot of things with these movies that we know as these great movies kind of fall into place, right? They kind of fall into making a really, really successful movie, and it all comes from like different angles. The Rick Moranis angle, the stuff that they literally replaced Eddie Murphy as the comic relief with Bill Murray, and then
but even though
the only thing I didn't understand and then never explained, and was really hard to find, is if Eddie Murphy was the comic relief and John Belushi is basically the comic relief, Dan Aykroyd was supposed to be the straight guy, which he basically is in this movie.
Not really, but he's the affable nitwit, though. He's the affable nitwit. He's not the straight man, because Egon is a straight man.
Yeah,
Ramis' character is a straight man.
He's also like the straight lace scientist. Also, like Ray Stantz is also Ray Stantz is more of a respectable scientist.
I'm sorry.
Murray.
Who's the one character that fucked a ghost in this movie?
Well, that's that's Ray Stantz.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
But
yeah. Huh?
But if we're going for Peter Venkman here,
yes.
I mean, this case study, this first scene is fucking amazing.
What I want to just real quick just bring back to your point about how everything kind of fell into place. One thing, after watching that special and knowing the things that I know about the movie already, it's like serendipity was in full effect in this whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
How everything aligned when so Coca-Cola had a problem with it, so they dropped the project. The guy who was the head of the movie was like, "Oh yeah, I became the head of Universal Studios, so now I want to pick up the project."
No.
What?
No. It's a little bit different. he was at, is it Warner Brothers
He
or
was at
no, he was
Warner.
Columbia. The head
So,
of
well,
Columbia
he
at the
was working with
time.
Columbia was working with Warner Bros. At the time, and he was working with Columbia, but Columbia was owned by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola didn't want anything to do with the movie anymore.
Yes, but because he gave a promise to Ivan Reitman, they were basically up and running and going. The only issue with the same guy go from Columbia into Universal is the title. The of
And then also free reign for the. It
Free
was a
Reign
free
is
check.
actually it's like sort of like scorched earth when you leave a place. He
Yes.
left Columbia because he couldn't agree with Coke about actually this movie,
Mm-hmm.
but he already approved and signed all the budget that goes into it. They didn't say it on the Netflix special. If you go to the Wikipedia page, it did say he approved the budget and left.
Yeah.
So like it's for Coke saying, "Oh, stop the movie," but the checks have already been cashed, right? So the checks he wrote to Ivan Reitman were already cashed and went into Boss Films, which is the people who did the effects, and the cast, the crew, everything was like off and running. The only difference is this movie's title was a problematic one because it was originally written as
Ghost Breakers.
No, it was written as Ghostbusters, but they found out there's a TV series.
Yes, I know.
From Film Nation,
Film Nation, yes.
Filmation.
They actually produced, they did not only produced He-Man as shown in the documentary.
He-Man, but they produced
they produced many
a lot of Saturday morning cartoons and TV. And when he moved from Columbia to Universal owned Film Nation, so he basically gave them the name.
Yeah.
They also paid $2.5 million. That's what they left out of the Netflix thing.
Well, also there was that one gorilla shot that they did that was absolutely like the most just ballsy move that they could do. Is they had the shot that was done before they did most of the full principal photography. They had the celebration scene where everyone's going Ghostbusters, 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 like, and everyone is going crazy for them.
Yeah.
In that shot, and then they had another scene
shot where they said Ghost Breakers because they didn't have the name right. Yeah, they didn't have the name right, so everybody was shouting Ghost Breakers. And it was like, as well.
Oh yeah, we have to go with Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
we have to.
It's like you said, it's serendipitous because there's a lot of like little things that you wouldn't think go into this movie, and they kind of fell into place. And when everything fell into place, everything seems like smoother. It made everything smoother, feels right. Like even Dan Aykroyd said, once Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman brought me down from where I was to like this crazy space double universe, whatever,
intergalactic ghosts and shit, like buddy.
Once Ivan Reitman put me down and told me like, we'll treat it like a job, like everyday job. They're just plumbers. It's like, oh, that I can write that. I can do that. And he just went off. So
speaking of serendipity, we have Bill Murray, which, by the way, he's basically playing. It's Bill Murray playing Bill Murray in a Bill Murray movie starring Bill Murray, because he's just like fucking Ryan Reynolds. He is an insufferable asshole. He's a great actor. Do not get me wrong, but he's a prick.
Yeah, like it starts with, in any movie, including this one, nobody knew until the first day of shooting if Bill Murray actually shows up.
Going to show up
because he has not signed his contract until the day one of shooting. And it's like, day one of shooting, I'm Bill Murray. I'm here.
No, he showed up. He showed up at 8 a.m. on time.
And he did that for Stripes. He did that for Meatballs. He did that for Groundhog's Day. He did that for Caddyshack.
He did it for Lost in Translation.
And look, we're on podcast number what 24, right? We're on podcast 24. This is the second Bill Murray movie. Oddly enough, it
Harold
seems
Ramis
like
directed Groundhog Day too, by the way.
idly directed. Yeah, the other one was directed by Harold Ramis, who's a good friend of Bill Murray.
And oh boy,
But
that's
they
another
came
sad
to this
story we'll get
movie
to later.
from two different angles, which is weird.
Yeah.
And this is the second movie, and again, like you said, it's Bill Murray playing Bill Murray in a Bill Murray starred movie, and very few actors are like this, but you know exactly which one they are. Wasn't Egon the only person to keep Murray in check? Not in this movie.
Nope. Ramis
Actually, in
tried
this
to
movie,
in
it's Ivan
Groundhog
Reitman.
Day.
And Ivan Reitman.
Yeah, it was Reitman. Yeah, Reitman got him
in check. On Groundhog's Day, he had a big fight with Harold Ramis that actually, their fight was only concluded when Harold Ramis was
about to die. Yeah. That story that they told there, like I knew it before, but actually hearing it again, it's like, that's hard.
I knew it too.
So they had a lifelong friendship, and they decided to make Groundhog's Day together. Just for everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, that's okay.
And they butted heads so much that Bill Murray refused to speak to Harold Ramis.
Yeah, flat out, he did not speak to him. And a lot of what happened between those two was a sort of the main reason why Ghostbusters 3 was not a thing.
Yep,
so
correct.
Bill Murray didn't want to do Ghostbusters 2. We're going to touch upon that when we talk about Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to do Ghostbusters 2, but he felt like he had to, so he did come. Again, showed up day one of the set. And then he really wanted to do other things, and he kind of did. And I think Harold Ramis kind of wanted to work with him on Groundhog's Day in order for him to do Ghostbusters 3 around 94, 95 to do like a trilogy thing and conclude the story, but it never lifted off the ground.
Yeah.
So
and again, like it ruined a lifelong friendship, and they didn't speak to each other for nearly 20 years before Harold Ramis was literally dying.
Yeah.
And that story that like Bill Murray had to actually go to the town that Harold Ramis lived in to go to the police station, ask him like, so where does Harold Ramis live?
Yeah, he didn't even know where he lived. Yeah,
I know he's died, but I don't know where he lives.
Yeah.
It's a sad story.
It's a sad story. Now for happier things.
Come on.
Let's just run through the actual movie.
Yeah, let's get to the movie point. Oh, yeah.
Three scientists doing paranormal activity, which is, a thing. They're at a university, and
Bill Murray being a very skeevy creep on a girl.
Like I showed that picture with the I'm not going to show it again, but of course, in a local library, the local New York library, which was shot in local LA library.
Right? Yeah.
There's some sort of a disturbance, and somehow they called these three. I think it's Ray who gets Ray's
the one that gets the call. Yeah.
They go to investigate, and I like this shot. It's Egon asking for Venkman for the sample, and Bill Murray takes the thing, but it actually smears on his hand, and he kind of smushes it on all the books while he goes to meet up the guys.
Oh, the ectoplasm, yeah.
Yeah, the ectoplasm. He's like smearing it on the books, and like that's the most Bill Murray thing ever in any movie.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
And of course, they do get a ghost, but they're basically ill-equipped to deal with the ghost. It literally says like, "Go get her, Ray."
Yeah, and oddly enough, I have to say, like, I know we'll get into effects later, but the person that did this makeup, I have to assume that whoever worked with everyone on the Evil Dead series must have taken that kind of makeup example, because when she does her shift, the librarian,
Yeah.
she looks like a Deadite from like Evil Dead.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Evil Dead in a long
Yeah,
time.
it was like, oh wow, that reminds me of a Deadite. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's anyway. They're literally ill-equipped to deal with that stuff, and they go
Yeah.
back to the university, and they also find out that
To
they're
be
going to get kicked out.
When they go back, they're like, yeah, by the way, you're fired. Like,
Yeah, you're
but we
fired,
just
get the
found
fuck out.
proof.
Yeah, it's literally on the cusp of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
They're out. And
They're like,
because
oh yeah, by the way, we can actually scientifically prove that there is life after death. Oh, you're fired.
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and we get to like one of the most iconic piece of writing in Ghostbusters history, which is Ray talking to Peter, and Peter's like, call it luck, call it karma. Some things were meant for a reason, right? And it's
just like this movie.
It's so much like this movie. It's unreal. It's I don't know. I don't know. It's probably karma or something, because everything fell into place with this movie, and everything fell into place with those guys who were like, oh, we're on the cusp of everything. Now we're going to get kicked out. And suddenly we come up with this great plan to become Ghostbusters, because there's definitely ghosts out there, and it's a service we can provide to,
and they
to capture and store
They
ghosts.
have Ray put up his house, and what does Peter say? He goes, don't worry about it. Most people have 3 mortgages on their house now.
Yeah. And
he goes like, hey, by the way, you know the compound interest, you're going to owe $95,000 by the end of this year, right? He's like, what?
Look,
what?
I don't mean to like go all fucking banker on you, but did you notice the amount of interest they have yearly?
Yeah.
17%. 17%. That is unreal. That is loan shark crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is loan shark crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we get to introduce, after this bit where they take the loan to the house, they go and check out that the firehouse station. They're basically get to set up everything, but we don't see it. We only see them taking the place out. Cut to, we get to introduce Dana, and of course Vince Clortho, or Rick Moranis,
which is, come on, his name is Louis Tully.
Louis Tully. You know.
By the way, has Sigourney Weaver ever looked better?
No.
No, I think she was gorgeous in this movie.
Yeah, she was, and she's prettier before she got turned and put on all the fucking weird, like, sexy makeup. Yes, it's 80s sexy makeup.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, we get this. We get to know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, tinge of misogyny there. I'm sorry, but she looks gorgeous there.
No. She first of all, look. Sigourney Weaver is a beautiful woman, right? She's not to mention that some people like it that people are tall. I so specifically don't, but she's towering over Rick Moranis.
Yes.
And he's like the quintessential, not only nerd, but he's like annoying neighbor that always hits on you, but very subliminally, like, because he's not it's not even subliminally, he's not catcalling her or anything. He just wants to go on a dinner date with her, and she says
it's not really subliminal though. Like, it's not subtle, it's overt, and it's blatantly clear what his intentions are. but he's not actively saying like,
No, he's not a creep. He's not a
yeah.
creep. He's just a nerdy dude that she doesn't want him. So
well, he's just a socially awkward guy. That's what he is.
yeah,
That's
basically it. And what I love about this is the fact that in a very short period of time, we know exactly who she is, and we know exactly who he is, and it builds up those characters, right?
Mhm.
So she sees a dog in her fridge, and it's it kind of gives us the that little jump scare as well, and it also
Was it scream at her?
What?
Was it scream at her?
Was it what?
What does it scream at her?
I don't know.
Zool.
You know what? I've seen the movie a lot of times. She says it screams Zool at her. I did not hear it.
Oh.
She says it to Peter Venkman later, but I don't actually hear that in the movie. You hear a shout and she closes the fridge, but nothing more than that. Also, it has the eggs popping out as well, right?
Yeah, it's as if it were that marble countertop was actually a griddle that was actually baking.
Yeah.
Them.
And also, I don't know how it didn't pop, not pop, but like melt the fucking marshmallows. It also sets up the Stay Puft marshmallows.
Yeah.
Brand.
As something that's inherent in this universe. Yeah.
Exactly. Which there's no brand like that. It's an amalgamation of a lot of stuff.
Yes.
All right. So she goes to the Ghostbusters. I like the fact that there's a scene where Egon is below Janine's desk fixing her phone or something, and when he goes up, she tells him something.
There's an inherent joke there, because she goes, "Oh wow, it seems like you're really good with your fingers."
Yeah,
it's like, see, that's a little adult joke that everybody gets to, like, ha.
In a basically a PG-13 movie, I got it. Yeah. It's sort of an adult joke, but she also asks him what he likes to do in his spare time, and he tell you the immortal words: spores, molds, and fungus. I like to collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Fungus, yeah.
And we're actually gonna get some. We already got it in the trailer for Afterlife, and I know everybody that saw that, it was like, holy shit, that's
a payoff. Yeah, it's a payoff.
It's Egon. It's like a throwaway line from the first movie, and it was never said again. It's like, fuck. I love this movie so much. All right, so Dana comes in. Peter, he sees a beautiful woman. He's being Bill Murray, and he jumps to help out. And of course, she goes through the Egon and Ray Stans kind of grilling, and all Bill Murray wants to do is take her to her apartment and check her out.
No, he goes like, well, don't worry about it. Like, well, you guys, do all your testing and everything. I'll check her out. I mean, I'll check her apartment out.
I was like, oh, we know what you mean.
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 And when they get,
this is where most of Bill Murray's improv stuff comes in. That whole scene,
that whole
half of it.
Yeah,
in the apartment is him improving, like him playing the piano, going, ding 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 ding. They hate this.
Yeah,
it drives him crazy.
I want to put it on screen. He literally comes in and there we go. Bam.
Yeah,
it's like he plays these two keys and like, oh, they hate this. Like he fucking knows.
Oh, he knows. Yeah, exactly.
He saw one ghost in his life and he's like, oh shit. You come to the right place. You come to the experts here, man. We're the Ghostbusters. And that device he's holding, what is that?
What is it supposed to be? Like,
it was like, we know what a PKE meter is. We know there's another thing that they have a name for that I forgot. they give the name for, I think maybe only in the animated series. But they have like different devices. The one that everybody knows is the PKE, the one with the two horns
like
that go
horns,
up
yeah.
when it's
Yep.
when it detects something. But yeah, that device never appears again. It's just, it looks dumb. It uses a fucking rubber thing to suck the air out and get it. I don't know what it is. Anyway, we don't want to know. But when they open the fridge, there's
Well,
nothing.
she's like, well, I didn't put any of this in here, remember? Because she sees all that like she sees like, oh, baloney, I see you are on a very healthy diet.
He's like, he opens the fridge, there's nothing there, and she gets annoyed, right? Because there's nothing there. And of course, Bill Murray being Bill Murray, he suggests that they go out for dinner and talk it over, and she literally pushes him out of the apartment. And of course, they meet out with Louis Tully, who gets a bit miffed that she has another man coming into her apartment. Which kind of like, again, it builds the character of Louis Tully and also Dana.
Well, in a way, if you think about it, it builds him as that archetypical. Now we refer to them as, like men who are so driven by like, oh no, I'm an incel because a woman I want only wants to be with somebody else. It's like, go after somebody else then.
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, and correct me if I'm wrong, 1984 is also the year that Revenge of the Nerds came out, which had another character that kind of looks exactly like Louis Tully, played by is it David Carradine?
No, that's not David Carradine. No, not that is not David Carradine.
The other Carradine brother. Sorry, not David Carradine. The other Carradine.
Well, brother. but also like, yeah, that one also like, yeah, he definitely sexually assaulted a woman.
We'll leave that movie alone for now.
Sorry, he did.
Well, let's go back to this movie, because this is the immortal line, because after spending every bit of cash they have, including infomercial, we're ready to believe you.
Yes. I'm going to go on just a little side tangent about that song real quick.
Okay. The song?
Yes.
Okay.
I love the fact that the author of the lyrics of the song could not find anything that would work with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, anything that rhymes with Ghostbusters as well.
So, but the thing that he thought of was like, oh, well, thinking of these old school exterminator commercials, like, oh, well, if you got a problem, we'll solve it, right?
Yeah, just call us.
Call us.
So who are you going to call when you have ghost problems? The Ghostbusters. It's so weird, but how things work out.
And one thing about that, though, the song itself is estimated to have added $20 million to the box office due to soundtrack sales.
Really?
It was on the Billboard. It was number one on the Billboard charts for 13 weeks.
Including the movie was on, like, it was running for 15 weeks?
15 weeks, yeah.
15? Is it 15 or 30? I don't remember. They were both running. Maybe it's 13 weeks as well. But
I believe it was 15 weeks, because the song fell out of the Billboard number one for 1 or 2 weeks after, like right before the film actually went out.
When the movie came out, it was straight to number one. It was everywhere.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
It was huge.
And
hell, even when it came out on VHS, you know how crazy VHS tapes were?
Yeah. I know.
Ghostbusters was $80 on VHS.
Oh, you did mention that. I don't remember if we talked about this backstage or not.
Yeah.
But VHS, and I told the story that like when I was at that age, around, well, not 5, but when I was like 7 and 8 and 9, the weekly thing was going to the video store and getting a stack of videos to watch, like a few adult movies, like not really adult movies, but Star Wars was one of the adult movies, and a lot of cartoon stuff that I can watch with my dad.
Yeah.
And from the stack, I basically watched everything that didn't have overt sex in it, I think.
Well, because that was the thing. Because at the time, it was still that bidding war between VHS and
In Betamax.
Betamax.
Yeah. We had VHS, and
Yeah.
literally
And VHS was always more expensive. It was.
And nobody bought, nobody that I knew bought like the plastic box. If you had a VHS tape, it was
A VHS player?
most likely someone in their house having 2 videos, one playing it on the TV and the other one recording it, and that's how they basically did bootleg.
Yeah.
Like a guy who had a video store was literally playing a lot of movies and recording them at the same time, and that's how they did their money.
Yep.
But yeah,
and we all
$80 for one box, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, but that was at the height of like when VHS was brand new. I remember when DVD were brand new, DVDs were going for $40, $50 a pop.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we get the super iconic. We got one, and she slams the button. The alarm goes off like a firehouse alarm. Go out to the truck. Ecto-1, first appearance. They come out. It's after it was redone. It was a Hearst, and it was redone, and they go out and they go into a hotel. But
the name, was the Hawthorne Hotel? I can't remember the name of that one.
It's Sludge.
I know it's the Slimer scene, but
let me
doesn't matter.
Exactly the name. It's something. Let me see if I can get the name, because you see the name outside, the lettering. Doesn't matter. The name of the hotel is not important. The fact that it's supposed to be like this uppity, rich hotel, not the Four Seasons, but somewhere in the vicinity.
It's definitely a 4-star at least hotel. It's definitely upscale, where this is going to make a big kerfuffle.
Yes. All right. So before we go on, and I think we're going to go a little bit long tonight, so bear with us.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. We are going to go for our first segment, which is the poster quiz, which I'm going to put on posters that have their text smudged off or just without it, promotional stuff, all that good stuff. And you guys out there will have to guess it along with my good friend, All My Feelings. It should be relatively easy this week.
Oh, I hate you so much. It's X-Men. Something of the Dark Phoenix. It's the most recent one.
Phoenix. It is the worst, absolute worst of the new X-Men movie. By the way, all of the X-Men movies.
Actually, I think that's Fever Pitch.
That's Fever Pitch.
I think X-Men Last Stand was worse than Dark Phoenix.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I really didn't like Dark Phoenix, so I do not agree.
God. I know this movie.
I saw it once. I know this movie won a lot of Oscars.
I hated it.
I hated it so much.
And the little dancing scene, like, and then they found happiness in other people. I hated this movie.
Emma Stone is really bad at it. I think she got an Oscar for this. She is terrible in this.
No, I think she got. I think she got an Oscar for The Help, which is
Oh.
actually a good movie.
No, The Help is really good. The Help is really, really good.
Yeah. I think she got an
for-
Oscar for that, not
Okay.
for this.
Okay.
Hopefully not for this. I cannot remember the name of it. I hate this
It is
movie though. I know
called
that.
La La Land. Biff
La
forgot
La
it.
Land.
Biff forgot it.
Yeah. Is that the original Tomb Raider?
Original Tomb Raider. Yes.
Catch Me If You Can.
No. That's with
No,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
no.
But it has sort of
Wow.
the same kind of title.
Wow. No, it's
Jesus Christ. Can you hear that? Damn.
No, I
This
cannot.
guy with a massive hog just run by my street full clip.
No, it's
Come on, chat. Come on.
shit.
Beat him.
I forgot it.
Come
I
on,
forgot
beat
it.
him. Chat, I'm gonna give you 10 more seconds.
They made a sequel to it, and it's really bad too.
The sequel is absolutely atrocious, and they're gonna make number 3 as well.
Okay, why are they gonna make a third one?
Because money.
How?
Money.
Now you see
Biffer
me.
got
There you
it.
go.
Now
Biffer,
you see me.
thank you.
Now you don't. Well, it's now you see me.
That's just Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That is Once Upon a Time.
Which I actually like
in
that
Hollywood.
movie. I know people don't like it.
I still haven't watched it.
That's just the original Resident Evil. I mean, come
That
on.
is the original Resident Evil in
I know.
homage to
Seth is gonna be so pissed because, like, oh god damn it, he got it for me. It's like, I knew that one. Ah.
By the way, I did check after we talked about Event Horizon. Wes Anderson did.
Paul W. Anderson. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did so much money on all of them.
I know.
Rich. He is massively rich.
I know. They made so much money off of that series.
I forgot. I literally forgot the name.
I hate this one. I hate this movie too.
I love this one. It's stupid. It is so dumb. And I hate Greg Kinnear. I do not like Greg Kinnear as an actor.
I think he's okay.
The only role I kind of liked him in was As Good as It Gets, the gay neighbor. I really like that portrayal of him. I do not like him in this movie.
Is it Stuck on You?
Matt Damon. Huh?
Is it Stuck on You?
Again, I literally forgot. So yes, it's Stuck on You.
Stuck on You. Okay. That's just The Grinch.
The Grinch.
Wanted.
And Wanted, the Bullet Benders. By the way, the ending of this movie absolutely makes zero
fucking sense. I know.
0 sense. It was very interesting right up until the end of it, where it made 0 sense.
Yep.
Nothing. Which is a big fucking letdown.
Which makes a hell of a lot more sense if you read the comics that it were based off of.
It was based on comics? Nice.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Mark Miller.
Really, really liked the premise of this movie and how they kind of work things out as well. And
I think you like that a bit more.
Common is good in it. Angelina Jolie is actually good in this. The actor,
the Russian
was fucking phenomenal. The English guy who was in that TV series Spooks. Yes, I said it. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
He was in. It was one of the leads in that. It's like a British TV series. I think it's renamed to MI5 or MI6 in the States just because they didn't like the name Spooks, right? But it's basically spies in like British English. Yeah. But whatever. That guy who did he tortured him, right? He did the torture.
Well, no, it was all about just taking how much punishment you could take being punched.
Yeah.
Repeatedly over and over and over again. So, yeah.
All right. So we go to the hotel, and I don't want to show this scene. I want to show the scene that made me laugh so much because it was so the humor in it was so subtle, was so funny that it to this day I laugh when he does that. It's literally this scene. Let me just set it up where they're standing in the hotel. They're talking about the fact that they all have a nuclear accelerator on their back. And Ray is like, okay, like switch me on. And he switches it, Egon switches it on, and he like pushes himself away
like,
as if
it's gonna do anything at all.
It's gonna do anything in that tight little space in the elevator.
That's like skydiving. Your parachute fails and you strap your helmet on extra tight. At that point in time, your helmet is wearing you.
Yeah, exactly. It was so goddamn subtle and so goddamn funny. And the look on Egon's face when he does it, like, it's just so good. So they come in, they trash the place, they shoot up everything. And it's like, oh, we didn't test this. Oh, let's just test it on the fucking maid's cart. Right? They don't say it, but the maid comes out and they literally turn around and blast her. It's like, oh, good test. And of course, Venkman gets slimed.
Well, there's that story behind that where they had to do multiple takes where he said many different things, but they stuck with.
Oh yeah. When
he slimed me.
Yeah. And they just the fact that Bill Murray was so good in giving the director and actually everybody something to work with. So he loves to ad lib, but he adds ad libs within the confines of the script itself. So you get like a line that is not actually written down, but it's in the spirit of what was actually written down in the text.
Yeah.
So he knows the line, but he's willing to give you something else. Yeah. And that's kind of how the magic works. Because even if he does do the line that it was actually written, it seems like it was like a spontaneous thing to do, which makes it more human, right? And not like, it's not an actor thing. It's a human
not at
thing. So you can relate to the character of Peter Venkman more because he's like this loosey-goosey dude. He's also doing the comedic role in this, or the more comedic role in this, rather than the more dry I have a lot of humor
with, because they really, really screwed over one person in this movie, and you know who it is.
Yes, they did. They did screw over.
But we're gonna in this scene in particular, though, showing Slimer for the first time, how did anyone think that was supposed to be a representation of John Belushi?
Well, I knew the story. That
I knew the story too.
I knew the story before I watched the TV series, which was weird, but they did touch upon that because it's a story that basically it's a known secret. The guy who made Slimer did a few takes of it until he was happy with it, and someone came in from the production team and said, he didn't say who. I think on Wikipedia it says that it was somebody from the producers who knew that John Belushi was supposed to be in it, and as a homage to Dan Aykroyd, they said, "Well, just make it into John Belushi, make it look like John Belushi." And the guy who made the puppet worked on it for he did so many variations until he was happy. When he got to the variation, he was like, fuck it, I'll just tell them it looks like John Belushi. And when they came to see it,
they were already filming at that point.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was a last minute thing where they're like, yeah, by the way, we want to do an homage to John Belushi's character in Animal House.
Yeah,
make him this wanton gluttonous slob like he was, like, oh, he was so funny in that movie. So let's have him. Let's have Slimer be that homage to John Belushi. Because he passed, Like, yeah, it's fine, but we're already filming
Yeah. And we already
So
made 25 or 21 variations of the same
they
puppet.
and he said like, so I just told him it looked like Belushi, and all the producers went, "Oh yeah, good job."
Yeah, good job. Yeah. And that's like quintessential Hollywood at times, where the producers just they tell them what they see even though they don't see it,
Yeah,
right? And they just to get the approval. And I think actually that's what's missing in Hollywood.
if you think about it more and more, if you take the money aspect out of what big Hollywood is, if you let the creative minds do what they want, and you're like, so I'm your dad here. This is what you want.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This is what you like. And they're like, oh yeah, this is what we want. This is what we like. Make this movie.
Yeah. It always comes back to a line that I loved from Monty Python where the patrons in Italy that commissioned like paintings from Leonardo, Raphael, all
Michelangelo, yeah.
those greats gave them the painting and told them this is what you like.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. That is a sentence that was permeating throughout Hollywood a lot until a certain point where it became a lot more business and disgusting. Well, it was always disgusting, but
Yes.
more business and disgusting.
Yeah.
And the producers gave more and more input rather than the artists had more effect on movies, which
I'm like to see that there are some movies that are bucking that trend right now. I mean, look at the new Dune. I mean,
yeah, I know.
That movie's gorgeous.
Yeah,
God,
I know.
it's a good movie.
I know. I know. So we get to the point where you're in the thing, and of course outside there's a little old lady that wants to like literally she's supposed to have a party there, and they do their first basically grab where they grab Slimer. They trash the fucking place, of course, and they grab him. I like the fact that Ray kind of puts the trap in. When he opens it, he says, "Don't look at the trap." And Egon's like, "I looked at the trap, Ray." What now? And there's no answer. It's like,
Yep.
"Don't look at the trap." It's like, I looked at the trap. Nothing. There's no resolution there. It was just a joke. It was just a joke for a joke's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But they do get out. And when they go out, they realize that they don't have like any pricing system or anything. And it's like Bill Murray's sweet talking the concierge, and Egon's like, this with the fingers. Oh, it's 4,000. Oh, and containment is like, oh yeah. Yeah. So it's $1,000. I was like, yes, you motherfucker. I got you. I got you. And it literally, when they leave the place, cut to, oh, it's on. The music starts, and that's kind of who you're gonna call is not only the soundtrack or the even the score. It's not the score, but it's the theme song is what
it's a titular track.
It's a titular moment, and it switches from, oh, we have zero business into we have so much business. It is crazy. And we also have the dream sequence, which in some places in the original cut, it was out of the movie. So in the original cut of the movie, Ray is literally lying down. There's like a female, like a sort of an angel ghost running like on top of him. And in the original cut, that's where it ends. In the not really an extended cut, but after the movie came out to VHS, they've added the fact that Ray is lying in bed in some sort of a Napoleon-esque outfit, and the ghost is literally opening his pants. And because Dan Aykroyd is such a great physical comic, he does like the squinting,
the cross eyes,
like, cross-eyed, and it's like, oh yeah, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. And at that point, basically, we do get to see a little bit of interaction between Venkman and Dana, because he comes to her with a little bit more of information of what's going on. And we get our first kind of antagonist, which kind of sets things in motion, where Mr. Peck here comes in, and he's from the Environmental Society, and they want to see what's going on. And of course, Peter doesn't want to deal with it, because he doesn't want anybody to regulate them. And he sends him off, and he tells him, well, if you want to come see our shit, you need a fucking warrant, right?
Yeah.
And he throws him out, right? And of course, because they're overworked. Oh, wait. Before Peck, Mr. Winston Zeddemore. Yeah. I'm going to switch to this, but Mr. Winston Zeddemore comes in. He's like, I came for the job. Great, you're hired. It's like, come, I'll show you the ropes. And he literally takes him down and shows him how to put the trap in the containment. And he basically gets hired. Now, Ernie Hudson, who plays Winston Zeddemore, had a little input to tell us. And he said, well, technically, the Winston Zeddemore character was supposed to be at page...
It was 25 in the 25? Script. He got pushed to page 68.
And he was pretty upset about it. But is it the casting director that talked to him, or somebody from the production team talked to him? He said, look, dude, it's not you. It's just Hollywood. Things change, things move, characters get this. And it's just, trust me, it's just Hollywood. And I think that's the most Hollywood thing ever. That people get kicked because a story works, so they want to go with it.
Well, and also the person that they hire to redo those lines is an insufferable drama queen, Bill Murray.
Oh,
because Bill Murray basically stole all of those lines, because Eddie Murphy was supposed to have the majority of the comedic dialogue in it as Zeddemore. But seeing as he couldn't be in it, they decided, well, let's just go ahead and give Bill all the lines because Bill wants to be funny.
But did you notice who has the last lines in the movie?
Yeah.
It's Winston Zeddemore, because originally that was supposed to be a full-on Eddie Murphy line where he says, I love this town, right?
Yep.
A real great, it's a showcase for New York City, right? At the end of the day.
It's supposed to be.
This movie and the other movie, because they wrote it as a New York story, not a LA story, or not like Chicago. It's a very much a New York story. So, where was I going to? I love this town is like I love New York. That's the whole point. And it kind of fits. And that they gave him that last line, even though they kind of screwed him over.
They really did.
I like this part. Like they're trying to explain how the psychokinetic energy builds up. And if you do notice in Ghostbusters 2, it's basically the same, where the energy kind of builds up into some sort of a crescendo of a something that is going to happen. There in this one, they talk more about like Judgment Day, and the other one is something else. We're going to touch upon that when we do talk about it. But I like the fact that he explains it on this Twinkie,
the metaphor of a Twinkie. Yeah.
And then when Peter comes down after talking to Peck, it was like Winston says, Tell him about the Twinkie. It's like, what about the Twinkie? And Egon just eats it. It's really hard to explain in a podcast jokes.
Yeah, I know.
So hard.
Unless you actually do the setup and punchline. Yeah.
But at this point, this is basically the halfway point of the movie, right? This is like the halfway point of the movie. And from this point, the chain of events of the ending of the movie kind of start, because up to this now we have just a build up, right? We know about the Ghostbusters, we know about Dana, we know about Louis Tully, we know about a little bit about the building, where you get a little bit of information when Peter talks to Dana. We know about the problems that the Ghostbusters have with the Mr. Peck. And now things go
also
into like second gear, third gear, fourth gear.
I was going to say also the increasing amount of activity that's happening at the time, as if something is a beacon drawing them all towards something.
So the first thing that happens is actually the first is it Demon Terror Dog? It has a name now. It didn't have a name before. Is it a terror dog? The chat must know.
It's a demon dog.
Demon dog, terror dog, whatever.
But this is after. So at this point, isn't Dana already possessed?
No, not yet.
Okay, so
Loomis.
Oh no, you're right.
Like,
so
Loomis
no, this is Loomis having
first.
the party. That's right, because Loomis is having the party at his house,
and Dana kind of tries to slip away, and he goes out and catches her in the hall, and she said, "Well, I have a date."
And him being so still hung up, going, "Well, you could bring him too.
Yeah,
that's okay."
And like. I think Dana actually comes back from dinner. No, I don't remember. I've again seen it 3 times.
Because I was fairly
no. Actually, no. Dana gets possessed first.
Yeah, I thought Dana got possessed first.
Dana get possessed first in this
in her armchair. Yeah.
In her armchair. It's correct. By the way, let's see if I can catch it. I need to like put it on play for a second. So she see her, like, she talks to her mom, she slips back, the door kind of glows, and then the arms kind of catch her. Now I'm a nerd, and I'm an asshole, and I'm a big misogynist, right? The only thing I had in mind when I saw this, and I've seen it numerous times, is who is the lucky fuck that was, because it is special effects, right? Who's the lucky fuck that had his hand go out from the couch and catch Sigourney Weaver in a tit? I want to know and congratulate the guy. I can't really show it. It's so dumb. But it's for me as a young boy and like an old man, it always was in my mind. It's like, because Sigourney Weaver is gorgeous. She has one of the prettiest faces I've ever seen. Really. Mm-hmm. And I'm a married guy. And and she doesn't, like, she's not body hot for me, but her face is amazing. The guy was like, it's not like in a sex scene where you're, I know why you're grabbing, but
the person couldn't even see, because where the way that it was angled up, he just had his arm going out, and he was just,
basically I mean, that's where he sent his arm, but it didn't stay there. Trust me, it didn't. But by the way, she's wearing the most 80s outfit ever.
Her apartment just reeks of 80s.
Like, she wears the I'm going to the aerobics class outfit. Like the spandex over the spandex, the fucking whatever you call the stuff that you put on your feet, the leg warmers, which had zero purpose. Mm-hmm. You can't even explain how 80s her outfit is. But yeah, the fucking lucky guy from I wanted to say ILM, but it's not.
Not from ILM, no.
It's Boss.
They stole him away from ILM.
Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna discuss it maybe later. And then Louis Tully gets chased by a bear. I like the fact that when it came out, the doorman said, "What? It's this fucking bear. It's chasing everybody." It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And of course, Dana, because Dana had a date with Peter, Peter comes to her apartment, and we get one of the most iconic. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna keep it there.
Are
So
you the key master?
yeah,
Are you the key master?
she opens the door for Peter. It's like, "Are you the key master?" He says no. So he slams in his face, and he's clicking the thing again, and she opens up. "Are you the key master?" And he says yes. And she pulls him into the room. But when they go to the bedroom, she lays down, and Peter, like, he wants to take advantage of her, but he doesn't really want to take advantage of her because he's a goofball, but he's not really a creep. And she says she wants him. And she says, like, "Take me, sub creature." And he's like, "I think there's too many people in this relationship."
Yeah.
Like, too many people in this relationship. And like, oh yeah. Yeah. Down, like, if you break him down to like to the very core, he's not a bad individual. He's an ass.
He's
a
just an
jerk.
asshole.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
what
jerk.
he
He's an
is.
asshole, but inside he's a pretty decent human being. He could have taken advantage of her, but you know. And she goes, he's like, "I need to talk to Dana." And she says, "There is no Dana. There's
no
only
Dana, yeah.
Zool."
Zool.
One of the most iconic, like, of many in this movie. Like, there's so many quotable things. And
Well,
of course, Louis Tully gets caught by the police, and they don't know what to do with him. So
well,
they
he runs into a restaurant and keeps asking for, like, "Are you the gatekeeper? Are you the gatekeeper?" And he walks up to a horse, like, "Are you the gatekeeper?"
And he's like, "Oh, don't." He's like, "You're the gatekeeper." "No, don't worry. The wrath is coming." And he tells that horse thing, and like, "The wrath is coming. Don't worry about it. We shall rule again." So they drop him off at the Ghostbusters. When they put him into when they put the colander on his head.
Yes.
On the little computer, you see the head of the terror dog, and they don't make a connection.
Yeah.
Which is, it's fine. They're not supposed to, and he tells them a bunch of nonsense. For them, it's nonsense. But Peter calls them, and he says, "Look, I've got the gatekeeper here." And Egon says, "Well, I've got the key master." And Peter says, "We have to bring him together." And Egon says, "No, I think that would be a very bad idea. Very bad idea." So Peter kind of sedates Dana and goes back to the place. And by the time he gets there in the morning, Peck is already there with the warrant to shut them down. And they have a lot of like back and forth and everything. And of course, Peter does not contribute a lot to this because he insults Peck again.
Yeah. Not my favorite insult, but we're going to get to that one.
Yeah. And of course, they do get to shut down the containment field. And we get this. This is it. This is the sign. Vince Clortho has been summoned as White Rider plays Outlands. Never mind. Nothing to do with this podcast, but okay. Yeah, we get to see this. I like the fact that when the guy comes to shut down the grid, Egon is going like, boom. He goes like, boom. And they run away. And everybody runs away. Like the guy who's like the chief of whatever. It's not the chief of police, but it's like the chief of the fireman, whatever. Like something like some sort of an
He's a fire
authoritarian,
marshal,
but
yeah.
he's a fireman, but he's some sort of a chief or whatever.
Yeah.
And they blow this thing out, and Vince is like, "This is the sign," and he goes for Dana, and Dana also kind of, while that's happening, she looks out her window, and her apartment explodes.
Yeah.
Explodes. And it was cool, basically. Right. And of course, the guys get arrested, and somehow they got the blueprints of Dana's house. And Egon, it's basically, this is the exposition moment where she kind of Egon explains that Ivor Shandor is a guy, he's in the occult, and he built this that specific house as a conduit for psychokinetic energy and all that stuff, and it's all to bring the Gozer, some sort of a Sumerian god, not a Babylonian god, a Sumerian god.
Yes.
And I like the fact that to break all the tension, because they're saying it's the end of the world, it's end of days, blah blah blah, and to break the tension is like Bill Murray goes into this rant after the whole exposition is like, so be good for goodness sake, right? And that's also an ad lib moment as well, one of many. Anything to add before we move on to the mayor's office? Or not?
No, I would have moved on to the mayor's office because I think that's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Okay. So the Keymaster unites with the gatekeeper.
And they both turn into demon dogs?
Not yet. They go upstairs. They only turn into demons after the Ghostbusters already climbed.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But we get the Keymaster Gatekeeper uniting, and of course, because it's a hopeless situation, the Ghostbusters get summoned to the mayor's office. Yes. Notes. Or shall I continue?
Okay.
This is a funny scene, but it also gives you a glimpse about politics, or how politics actually work.
Yes, and how everything is set up, and it's in a lot of ways it's based off ego and ultimately votes. So anyway, the main argument that the Ghostbusters really propose is, quite frankly, well, this is all your fault because we had it all contained and you let it all out. Now, we can try to help solve the issue, and then Peckett from the EPA is saying, no, you can't let them go because they're only going to make the situation worse. And was it Venkman? Was it Peter who says, well, what's the worst that we can do? Make the situation any worse than it already is? It's already a catastrophe.
Yeah,
worst case scenario, we're going to go back in jail.
Pex actually, he says that they've released some sort of a hallucinant gas to rip off people, and if you let them go, they're going to continue doing that. And the chief of police actually said that, I don't know what it is, but it's not fucking gas, what we saw this morning.
Yeah.
And at this point where they argue, before Peter says to the mayor, look, we're going to do this or not, is it the Cardinal of New York or Bishop of New York comes in?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, your eminence. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's Mike and Joe talking to each other, right? So he slaps him in the face. Oh, it's not, he doesn't slap him. It's like, oh, Mike, we're in a jam. Everything is fucked. Not in those words. And the cardinal is very much of like a very religious guy, but he's very down to earth. So he says, I don't believe what's going on, but I do know something's off and it's not an hallucination.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Peter says, look, if you can just go with Peck or let us deal with the situation. Worst case scenario, you put us back in jail, right?
Mhm.
Best case scenario, we save the city, which means you save the city, which means
you
potential votes.
you're the one who saved millions of lives.
Millions of
You saved
registered
millions
voters.
of registered voters. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like
And
let
at
them
this point,
go.
yeah.
And there, the line that he says, like, so what do you think about this man? And what does Venkman say?
No. Ray sends until Dickless here shut down
Dear,
the
yeah.
grid. And it comes back around to, yes, this man has no dick.
Which, yes, this is true. This man has no dick.
It's just such a great like setup and payoff in a small little section. And what actually seals the deal is not Peter Venkman, is actually Winston Zedmore, who comes in. Look, I'm only been with the company for like a couple of weeks.
I can tell you, this shit is real.
I've seen shit that would make your head like toes curl or something.
No, it's like
it's real.
I've seen things that would make me go white. That's what he says. It's like,
yeah,
that's an Eddie Murphy line.
That's an Eddie Murphy line. If I don't know how it. Never mind. It's an Eddie Murphy line, but he delivers it so good.
So well,
like Ernie Hudson, with the very small things he does, he's so good in it.
Yeah,
and that's why he's a very much a fan favorite when it comes to like conventions and stuff. Not to mention the fact that it's lean on the old parts, anyway.
Well, that and also like he's by far, well, unfortunately, Harold Ramis, again, rest in peace, because I'm sure if he could go to his conventions, he would and meet people. But Bill Murray sure as fuck is not going to do that.
No.
And Dan Aykroyd definitely isn't, because
he's
we
working.
already know about that.
No, because he's working.
He's working, and also he's a little bit.
Yeah. Dude, the man believes in ghosts, like for real.
No, and like and also you actually like intergalactic ghosts and stuff. It's almost on the.
I know the multiverse is strong in his family. Anyway, so I like the fact that the line, one of again many, it's like Peter explains what's going on. It's like, oh, it's the wrath, it's the end of days, it's cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Yes, I love that line. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
And it has nothing to do with like the end of days. It's like,
yeah,
again, so 80s. And of course, again, he's like, okay, go ahead. What do you need what do you need from me? And cut to the National Guard comes in, full police escort, running into the building. Everybody's shouting, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters. And of course, they stand in front of the building and everything turns into shit. Like they fall down, like it looks like a mini earthquake. And of course, they survive. Everybody's back cheering them. The priests are there, the rabbis are there, the fucking the Buddhists are there. Did you notice the Hare Krishna at the back?
Yeah,
I noticed it. I noticed the guy a long time ago. Hare Krishnas do not pray.
No, they don't.
They chant. They don't pray.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Back when Hare Krishnas were a thing in the US. This scene. this scene where they literally go into the building and they don't want to take. Why aren't they taking the lift? They didn't say why. They
I would
just
have
don't.
to assume that the elevator's already been broken, and also since given the fact that it's slowly falling apart, you wouldn't exactly want to take the elevator up.
Yeah, and literally the throwaway line where Bill Murray says, "When we get to 20, just tell me I'm gonna throw up," which is literally right there in the movie. It's like, fuck, so fucking good. All right, before we do the last scene, what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into our second segment of the night, which is Cinema Deathmatch. Right, let me set this thing up. Bam, bam, boom. I already have the first couple. There we go. And there, and bam. There we go. Cinema Deathmatch, where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. There are many criterias, but at the end of the day, if we don't know to pick one of each one, we're giving a scenario where it's Friday evening, Saturday evening, your significant other, your everything other. Which movie will you pop in or stream on your various devices? So, Great Gatsby or Star Trek IV: The Undiscovered Country, which
6.
is undoubtedly the almost worst of the old Treks.
That's 6, and it is the worst.
It is the worst?
It's the worst.
Isn't 6 the last one?
Yes. This is the one they did where
I think 5 was the worst of the old ones.
No, because I believe that this is the one where they tried to have that. Originally, they were trying to make it a Messiah story.
No, that's 5.
Was that 5? I thought it was 6.
That's 5. This is 6. This is the one where they stop the assassination. Is it at Kittimer? Yeah, this is the one where they have the big meeting and they stop the assassination. And it's the 3 guys, one from the Federation, one from Klingon, and one from the Romulan envoys that they all conspired.
Yeah. This one is
if I'm not mistaken.
So if that's the case, then that was actually one of
the better ones. This is the one that was directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. So then I have to go Star Trek 6 because The Great Gatsby, the adaptation, is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like
Why
it
did
either.
They make
it
that?
was boring.
Why did they make that?
It was boring. Ghost World, I haven't seen that in a while. And The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. I'm going to go with Ghost World. It's a weird, quirky movie with very young Thora Birch and a very young Scarlett Johansson.
And also, I'm going to have to... And also Steve Buscemi's in it, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
He played a creepy but not creepy guy.
He was well... It's Steve Buscemi because I'm sorry, he just has a face where you're like, I don't know if I can trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Like, he is a perfectly nice man. There's no denying that, but still, you kind of go, I don't know.
So, which one are you gonna pick? I picked Ghost World.
I have to go Butterfly Effect.
I haven't seen in a while.
I think Butterfly Effect is a very underrated movie.
Okay, I've heard that for many people. Didn't like it, but okay, we're gonna go with Butterfly Effect because the chat rules. AI with Haley Joel Osment or Sweeney Todd, another Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham
Carter movie. Yeah, both of these movies are goddamn awful.
Yep.
I have to go with AI because it's not a musical.
I'm gonna go with AI because it's not a musical. It is boring as fuck, though. It's very boring. All right. Alien
this is
Predator,
an easy one.
Or
right.
Back to the Future Part 2. Easy one for me. 2. It's Back to the Future Part 2.
Part 2. Come on, hoverboards, man. Come on.
Yeah, hoverboards. Casino Royale and Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Please judge this as a
Singular movie. And
Yes.
that's what I have to go with. You know, I'm not a big fan of Bond films, but this is the one Bond film that I actually love.
Interesting. Not
Because
the
Matt
first time I
Mikkelsen
hear
is
that
the
opinion
villain.
as well.
I love that movie. I love Casino Royale. I do.
Okay. Despite the 17 million endings, which I'm sorry are also in the book, I'm going to have to go with Return of the King. I love
That's
Bond
fine.
movies. I used to really love Bond movies until this guy came. I do not like Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
For
Yeah,
me,
I know.
he is the worst Bond of any actors, and
Oh,
that's including Roger Lazenby. I know it's a bit of a controversial thing to say, but I do not like Daniel Craig as Bond. I never liked Daniel Craig as Bond. I'm sorry. It's Lord of the Rings for me as a singular movie, detached from the other ones. Definitely, if you see the extended version, that explains a little bit more of what's going on, especially with the dead army and that sort of thing. So let's go to the chat. Chat says Return of the King.
That's fine.
Let's do a couple more because we're already running a little bit late. Come on, Flick Chart. We're going for flickchart.com.
We're about right on time. It's not that bad.
Godfather Part 2 or Night Catches Us. Have you seen Night Catches Us?
Yes, I don't. Have you?
I have not.
So.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Collateral and Godfather Part 2. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. So Collateral is a really good movie. We were supposed to do a podcast on it on November 20th, which is probably going to be postponed because we're going to cover Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Afterlife, yeah.
Godfather Part 2, for me, of all the Godfather movies, is the best one of all three. The story in it is much better. The mystery is much better. And it, as a movie itself, works a little bit better for me from Collateral, even though Collateral might be a movie that I put on Friday evening just to enjoy the evening. It's very hard for me, but I'm going to go with Godfather Part 2.
Michael, we're going to be bigger than U.S. Steel.
Right. Last pairing. You're going to go first on this one. It's easy for me.
I already know it. I already know what you're going to say.
It's Rush Hour 2.
I have to agree with you on this one because A Beautiful Mind is a good movie to watch once.
Yeah. You know, I watched this movie at the cinema as a theater employee for the month that I was employed. I cried.
The month that I was employed.
I cried the first time I seen this movie. But the more times I've seen it, it's really good in some parts, but in other parts, it just goes off the rails.
Yeah,
it is a much better movie than Rush Hour 2, but I would rather watch Chris Tucker doing Chris Tucker things in a Chris Tucker movie than that. I'm sorry. I know Beautiful Mind is a better movie.
I just have to go with that too. It's given the criteria that we have already set forward. Whereas it's like, I don't want to sit there and watch A Beautiful Mind with somebody. They'd be like, hey, you know what? You know, it's a really good Friday afternoon movie. Hey, you want to watch a more?
Hey,
you want to be miserable for 2 hours?
You know what an easy pairing is? Not Kurt Russell. Fucking Russell Crowe versus Russell Crowe. Gladiator and A Beautiful Mind. Which one would you pick? Both are hard watches.
I watch Gladiator.
I would watch Gladiator
Yeah,
2.
every day of the week I'd watch
I would
Gladiator.
watch Gladiator 2.
Even though,
Again, both are
as a
fucking.
big Roman history buff, I'm like, you got all of this wrong.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie is fucking
That's
wrong.
right. That's right. It's sort of like a Spartacus movie, but not really.
No, at least in Spartacus they got some minor details correct.
Yeah. All right. So the last showdown. Yes. So Dana's apartment suddenly has stairs behind the fridge.
Yeah.
Right. So the guys are going up the stairs, and then it was like, oh, what do we do now? Oh, there's more stairs right there. Let's go watch those stairs. And oh, wait, that's a bit too far. They climb up the stairs. And of course, they see Lewis and Dana. Wait, I'm going to get to it. Come on. Okay, this is good enough. Basically, conduits of energy going through them, and they turned into dogs. And
it became a giant temple on top of the building. But
yeah. By the way,
apparently, side note, ancient Sumerian gods are excellent masonries.
Maybe. Anyway,
Apparently,
like this building, or at least if you see the actual building in New York, it's not that tall. It's 9 stories tall. Yeah. That's it. Including the top, let's say it's 10 stories tall. But when they came to shoot this is like a sound stage. It looks way taller than
it looks like a 30 or 40 story building.
It does.
Look at all of the buildings behind them.
When they shoot it from downstairs up, it's still, if you count the number of windows, it's still like 9 stories or 10 stories up, but it looks way more menacing and way taller just from the angles of where they shoot this thing. And again, one of those lines of Bill Murray when Dana kind of turns into a dog is like, okay, so she's a dog. Is like, all right. Like shit happens.
Yeah.
Shit happens. Yeah, this is it. So when I was young, I was definitely 100% sure that this lady was totally naked. She is definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that from, my friend.
I watched this at a very low grade VHS tape. Yeah, it looked like she was naked to me, but she's most definitely not. She's fully dressed. But I like the fact that they went with, like, you would expect, like, a guy called Gozer. You don't expect him to be a girl, but it's done so well in this. The fact that she does they shoot at her, she does a flip and she lands on the altar behind them with like high heel pumps.
Yeah.
It just made me made me laugh so much.
And that line where she asks Venkman, "Are you a god?" And he goes, "No."
She asks Ray, and Ray says no.
Okay. Ray says
and
no.
She's like, "Fucking die, bitch."
So was it? So then was it? I'm sorry. Then was it Venkman who told Ray, "Is like, if she asks if you're a god, just say yes." That was Winston.
That's Winston.
Man, no,
dude, Winston got cut short.
Yeah,
but he had a lot of great lines.
Quips, yeah.
Like, tell him about the Twinkie. I love this town. If somebody says you're a god, say yes.
Yes.
Because it's funny. It's just funny. Those are funny lines, man. And of course, they try to shoot at her. She jumps across. They think they defeated her, or Gozer. Doesn't matter if it's her or him. Doesn't
Well,
matter.
that's why then they. Oh yeah, this is before they cross the stream. Yeah, so that they're like, oh
Yeah.
well, wow, that was easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yay, we saved the town. It's not a big deal. It's like, no, well, now you
No, and
thought of
everything shakes. The building kind of falls apart even
like,
more.
well, what does Gozer say? It's you'll bring about your own instrument of your own destruction.
Yeah, choose your destructor. Choose the
Or
form
yeah,
of your destructor.
sure. It's
Or,
like nobody think of anything. Nobody think of anything.
and
I didn't think of anything. I didn't think of anything. Everyone looks at Ray and goes,
yeah, Ray's like,
I couldn't help it. It just popped in my head. And a little sailor hat.
sailor hat kind of bobs through. Now, we know from the Netflix thing that's one of the things I didn't know. Not the way they made him, but the fact that when they when they tested the movie after it was cut with a little bit of they didn't have the full body. They had the bobblehead
No, they
moving.
only had the bobbing head above the skyscraper
Yeah,
skyline, and that
the
was
shot.
it.
I'm gonna try and show it.
So basically, if anyone has
this one. There's like an iconic
yeah.
shot.
So if
When
anyone
they
hasn't
showed
seen
this,
it,
yeah, when they showed this to the test screen, they showed the crowd and the buildings. The marshmallow guy was not there. They just had like effects should be here.
well, it's the same
deal.
that they always put in pre-production before they add anything that's CGI or anything needs to be added in post-production. They was like add certain shot here.
Yes. But what they did have is a shot of the sailor hat and the top of the head bobbing along between the buildings, right? You see the head in the building. That's what they had. And the crowd that saw the test screening responded really, really well to it. So because they thought it's not going to work. It's too cutesy, but the crowd really loved it.
Yeah,
So
they
they
loved it.
kept it in, and they made it go. So the marshmallow head is basically an amalgam of the Michelin Man, the Pillsbury Doughboy, and some sort of marshmallow brand from Canada.
Yep.
Because that's where Dan Aykroyd is from.
Yep, correct.
So that's the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man, which is a brand new brand. I don't think is it actually a thing now in the US, or was at the time? Do you know?
I think they ended up making it the same thing with like a Ty-C made ecto coolers and all that stuff, like all.
But
the
it was very
branding,
like temporarily a temporary
I believe
thing,
so, because
kind of
I
went
don't
away.
believe we can buy. I can't not tell you the last time I've even contemplated buying marshmallows. So.
Well, I have small children.
Yeah.
And the stuff we get here is like a generic thing. It's not really.
Yeah.
It's not even branded.
The one line I love in the whole little fight, like the setup for the fight scene between the confrontation with the Ghostbusters and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, is, of course, Bill Murray's line where he goes, "Look at him. He's got a jaunty little sailor's hat. We just get this guy laid and we're all going to be fine."
Yeah, he's a sailor. We'll just get him laid and we're all good, man. And the fact that he later on says, "Oh, nobody steps on a church in my town."
Yeah.
What? Now you're religious?
Where is your moral compass? It's all over the place.
I mean, Winston Zeddemore is supposed to be more of the ordinary man, the religious. He's not really religious, but more in tune
the
with
common guy.
Religion. Yeah. And he's not like Bill Murray says, "Oh, nobody steps on the church on my town."
In my town. Like,
it's like, what?
Okay.
So they all huddle
together. Which is
together.
probably, again, another line that was stolen from
could be
that character.
Could be. It could be like the comedic role kind of line that was supposed to be Eddie Murphy's line. Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know. It could have been ad-libbed at the time, or something that was in the notes and Bill Murray kind of riffed on that. This is
Possibly.
something that nobody can tell us but him. So they come in, they huddle, and Egon says, "Well, I'm sorry to say it, but in order for us to win, we kind of need to cross the streams." And Bill Murray is like, "That's going to be very bad, Egon." And they have sort of a moment, and Bill Murray kind of slaps Egon and says, "Fuck it, I love this plan. Let's do it."
Yeah.
And that's a definite ad lib.
Well, it was
because
the
Egon
same
was
kind
not
of
prepared for that slap.
Well, it was the same kind of ad lib when they were moving back when they first went to the library and when they were going back to their offices.
Yeah.
Where Peter like pats Egon in the back, goes, "You're a good guy," and he pulls out a Nestle Crunch bar, and he goes,
"Yeah,
take it.
You earned this. Yeah, you earned this." It's sort of the same interaction between them.
Yeah.
And it just makes, like I said, it makes them humane, makes them like it's plumbers dealing with a plumbing job. It's just that it's ghosts and it's the end of days.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, it's like it's the apocalypse essentially. So,
So of course, what they do is they start with Ray and Peter crossing the streams, and at the end of the day, they all cross the streams together, and they blow the doors, which causes a massive explosion, which actually explodes the Marshmallow Man. It was so hot, and everything is back to normal. And of course, they think Peter thinks that Dana is dead until they see a little bit of movement.
Well, Ray was celebrating. He goes, "Oh, Peter, I'm sorry," as a reference, like, "Oh yeah," because in case the audience forgot, yeah, Dana might actually be dead, because they showed Lewis already, because Lewis is already like, "Hey, does anybody want to talk to me? I was a witness."
That's later.
I know it's later, but still, at the time, he's like, "Yeah, I'm what happened? What?"
Yeah. I love this shot where basically Peck gets his comeuppance.
Yeah.
But why I always didn't understand this. Why was he there? He definitely was thrown out of the mayor's office.
Yes.
What is he doing?
Why was he there? And also, why technically is Peck the villain? Because he's technically actually doing his job.
Yeah, he's just a zealous guy.
Well, he's overzealous about protecting the environment, and they think there's like, oh yeah, there's a potential that you're harboring what is the equivalent to like a nuclear bomb inside the middle of a giant metropolitan city.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, he is the antagonist to Peter, and we love Peter, right? We love Peter Venkman, so this guy must be bad.
Yes.
And
although Peter Venkman is morally bankrupt, as we've already seen, so it's just like,
yeah. And of course, he gets splooged with a ton of
marshmallow
cream,
fluff.
basically.
Yeah.
Shaving cream. But Peter, is it Peter Etherton? The actor.
Oh, who played him?
It's Etherton, but I'm not sure it's Peter, or it could be David. I'm like,
Peter. Yeah, Peter. So it's William Etherton.
William Etherton. Okay, so
yeah.
Bill. So anyway, and it's amazing to me that we're gonna watch Die Hard closer to Christmas. He plays the same role, like in a different. He's a reporter.
He's way worse in Die Hard. He's way worse.
I know. He's way worse in Die Hard, but it's the same kind of antagonistic role.
Yeah.
Where he's not really the villain of the story, but he's not a good guy either.
No. Well, in Die Hard, he's completely self-serving. That's the whole point in Die Hard.
Yeah. In this one, there's no.
In Ghostbusters, you could actually you could argue that if you really want to think about it, the Ghostbusters were in a way kind of the villains of the film.
Maybe not the
Because
villains, but definitely
them
not
trapping
the.
all of the spiritual energy in one area brought it so it was the conduit to bring Gozer forth.
I would say
So
those are.
you could
Yeah, it could be it's the plumbers that sweep the shit under the rug. Could
kind of yeah.
not really bad. I wouldn't say bad.
Except for the rug goes like this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Which is a shame. Which is a shame. You know why?
Why?
That rug really tied the room together.
That's right. That's right. Right. So and this scene where everything dumps on him and he yells to the sky again. Kind of the only thing for me that is bad in this movie in terms of storytelling. It's just, you could have just not put it there.
Yeah.
You could have dumped the whole marshmallow on top of the car and it would have served the same purpose.
Better had it fall on him and then smash cut. Because oh, haha. The antagonist gets the yell. Comeuppance. Because the yell, again, it was completely superfluous. Made no sense.
So they literally push Dana, get Dana off the thing, and Peter says, "Go help the other guy," and they take him out, and he's disoriented.
What does Egon say to Lewis?
You were just in a center of a psychotic storm or something like that, and Lewis was like, "Oh,
since
neat.
1920s." He's like, and we're also going to need a sample of your brain matter. Okay.
Just like casually, oh, we need just a slice of your brain. Oh, yeah, no problem. So everything is okay, and we get the immortal line of Winston Zeddemore. Where is it? Come on. I want to give you. No. Technically, Louis Tully has the last line of the movie. Right? Because he said, anybody want to interview me? Right?
Anybody want to interview me? I was a first-hand witness.
Yeah.
This is also the big scene where it was the big Ghostbusters.
No, because when they arrive, that's the bigger scene. But they're not actually yelling Ghostbusters when they go out the building. They don't.
Oh, I thought they did.
Yeah, I thought they did too. But again, it's one of those things that you remember from a movie.
Yeah.
But you gotta jumble a lot of things together.
Yeah.
Right? There we go. In all his glory. I absolutely love this line.
I love this.
It's not I love USA. It's not I love whatever. It's I love this. It specifically ties to New York. And it's a great line. I don't know. It gets me. It just gets me.
Oh, also, there's one line that Winston does say in this movie, which I find hilarious. And it is so of its time.
When they talk in the prison, right? And he says, "Well, you mean to tell me this Babylonian god Sumerian is going to come here and cause the judgment day? I'm going to need a different lawyer. I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to need a different lawyer."
No. What he says, he goes, 11.5 a year is not enough for this.
Oh, that's right. That's right. When he drives in the car with Ray coming back from a job to find out that fucking Peck is trying to drop the grid. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That is like in the United States, that is below poverty.
What, in 1984?
In 1984, at that time, that's making about, I would say currently about $30,000 to $35,000 a year, which is right now.
That's minimum wage.
It's more than minimum wage. Yeah, the
Well,
States
it's
is this.
not livable wage in New York City or
No,
Manhattan.
no.
Not at
I
1984.
I'll put it this way: the United States is very, very fucked up on how they treat people that make minimum wage. Let's
Yeah.
just leave it at that.
By the way, not only the U.S. Trust me on that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's sum up the movie before we go to the short version, which we forgot to do last week. I'm
yes,
sorry.
we did.
I had it ready. It is if you want to watch the short version of Halloween, which we did last week, please go to the channel and watch it. It was good. The only problem is we didn't show it live, which
Yes.
I am very sorry to do. I was kind of already wrapping things up in my brain. So before we go to the short, let's sum up the movie. Give us your take. Give us anything you want.
I just have to say it's one of the best comedies ever written. I think it's one of the best comedies of all time. As we've already discussed at length before, serendipity definitely had a hand in making this movie even possible, because all of the stars aligned. Whenever there was any kind of fumble or a misstep, something would come in and save the film.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again. So it's definitely a miracle that this movie even got made in the long run, and especially that it even got the name that it has, because you made like Ghost Breakers.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh,
anyway, what
awful.
I wanted to add is something that we touched upon a little bit in terms of the effects. The effects was supposed to be done by ILM. They were busy at the time doing other things. Which movie? They were busy doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which came out the same year as well, a little bit later.
Correct.
I think it was August. It came out, something like that. And they were busy, and there were already a bit of trouble brewing inside ILM, and some major guy quit. And the first commission work was Ghostbusters.
Well, no, they basically paid him to start his own.
Yeah, they basically
production
gave him
company.
money to start a new, basically another, not film
FX
studio, but an effects studio.
Yeah, an FX.
And he literally cherry picked a lot of disgruntled workers, which were obviously the most talented ones. That's why they were so disgruntled, because they wanted to have to get paid more money, and they did it super fast. The whole project from green light to finish was 10 months, and they were literally editing
because it
was until the last week before the
release. Because it got greenlit in May of 83, and then it was supposed to come out in June
not May of 83. It was literally 10 months, so September-ish. Something like that. Like August, September-ish of 83.
Doesn't matter.
And
it was still just like
literally
an unbelievable timeline.
June 8th was pinned for the release, no matter what.
Because it had to be because it has to come out for summer, because summer blockbusters. That's when you make all your money back.
And in a year where you had Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy, Ghostbusters, Temple of Doom, and a slew of other really recognizable movies, this came in second in the box office, mostly because it ran for a lot, like throughout the summer. Throughout this, it's like 50, like we said, around 15 weeks, give or take, if I'm not mistaken. 15 weeks, that's almost 4 straight months of this movie. So like throughout the summer and into the fall season.
And one thing that we discussed backstage last week is if you saw in that trend in the 80s, it was doing all of those re-releases, and this got several re-releases
during the 80s. And it made a little bit more money
every single time.
Scooped up another 12 million and another 5 million and another 8 million. Just
and then,
re-releasing it for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, something like that in theaters.
I was going to say one other thing that's really funny is I mentioned how the VHS, when it was initially released, it was $79.95.
Yeah.
Right. The copies of Beverly Hills Cop were released the same time on VHS for $29.95.
Really? And it
Ghostbusters
still beat
outsold it
outsold by units, not by money.
by units.
Damn, that's insane.
Then
Definitely
you know
insane.
what they did? Then they sold the rights for re-releases on VHS for another $20 million.
And
This movie
that
made
seems not like a lot of
so
money.
much money.
Yeah, it seems like not a lot of money. The movie made box office total of 202. We kind of looked at it last week. Around
Yeah.
202 million, just the box office.
First release too.
Yeah, the first release was about
That's
202,
then you have to
and then it
include,
made another 23 million 2 or 3 years later, and
Well, then-
another 12 million the year after that, and another
Yeah.
5 or 8 the
Well,
year
then-
after that, in preparations for 1989's release of Ghostbusters 2.
Well, but then you also have to rely like another $20 million based off of the Ghostbusters single off the soundtrack. Then all the VHS rights was another 20 million. And again, this is 1984 money we're talking about.
Yes.
But here's a short. Let's get to it.
No, I'm just setting it up. Don't sweat. All right. Before we're gonna watch, like we do try to do every podcast, finish up with a short condensed version of Ghostbusters. Hopefully the sound levels are okay. Please enjoy the condensed version, the short version of Ghostbusters.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
Librarian jump scare. Venkman, you have to come with us. Go get her, Ray. Call it luck, call it karma. This place is great. Fridge ghost. They hate it when I do this. We got one! Switch me on. I've always wanted to do this. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Hi, I'm Winston Zeddemore. You're hired. Imagine a Twinkie, 30 feet tall and 6,000 pounds. There is no Dana, only Zool. I'm Vince Clortho. This is it. This is the sign. I'm the keymaster. I am the gatekeeper. I agree. This man has no dick. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. Where do these steps go? So, she's a dog. Are you a god? Ray, if someone asks you if you're a god, say yes! Choose the form of your destructor. We have to cross the streams. Marshmallow shower. I love this town.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for another Reel McCoy podcast, the Reel McCoy podcast. All right, next week we continue with our Ghostbusters with Ghostbusters 2, the Ghostbusters Take Manhattan. No, I'm joking. Ghostbusters
Wait,
2,
no, isn't it Ghostbusters 2 Electric Boogaloo?
No. But it's close. Well, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Seriously, go watch Ghostbusters 2. If you haven't watched it at all, please watch it. If you did watch it before, go refresh your mind so you'll have it fresh in your mind when we talk about it next week as we pump ourselves up towards Ghostbusters Afterlife, which seems on paper like it's going to be a very much a fan service movie, which I certainly need it now. Definitely, like a personal thing. So yeah, go watch Ghostbusters 2. We're going to discuss it next week. We're going to have some fun with it, do some backstage stuff, because in Ghostbusters 2, there's a lot less serendipitous things and a lot more politics.
There's a reason why it took 4.5 years for it to actually get to really post-production and editing.
Yeah, and there's a reason why after Ghostbusters 2, the next Ghostbusters was basically either the animated series or if you want a featured film, was Ghostbusters 2016, which
we don't talk about.
was bad, real bad. Like it has the stamp of disapproval from Mrs. Meth, and she's a tough cookie to please. All right. So good night. Please. Oh, by the way, subscribe to the channel if you like this video, if you like our podcast. If you want to get in touch with me, please at Twitter, at Mephisto on Twitter, or of course, if you want Instagram, at Mephisto79 on Instagram, or if you want to email me, Mephisto79 at gmail.com, or comment section down below. Of course, we would like to see anyone with affinity to anything graphical. Please contact us. Or maybe we got some work for you. Maybe we want to do some collabs and stuff. If you want to be a guest on this show, also contact me. My DMs are open. If you love movies, if you love what we do here, please feel free to contact me and we will discuss this. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you a farewell. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Biffer. Thank you, Doll. Thank you, Saf, on the live chat, or all the lurkers that were on the live chat and didn't say anything. We love you too. Have a great weekend.